Hey, I called out. Hey, wait, I have some things to ask you. Luke turned to face me. His smile had been replaced by a taut look of confusion. As soon as he saw me, his face fell and his eyes widened. What little color he had in his face vanished. I scowled back at him, my mouth slightly open in offense. You, Luke asked, stumbling back half a step. You're alive? My scowl deepened. Yeah, I'm alive, no thanks to you. What? Were you expecting me to be dead or something? Luke didn't answer. He just gaped at me like I were a phantom standing before him. Polly squeezed past me, leaning heavily on her crutches, her gray eyes narrowed to slits as she evaluated Luke. You? She said, her voice dripping with venom. Who are you? And what do you know about what's going on? Luke finally tore his eyes away from me and looked at Polly, taking in her crutches and the bandage wrapped around her ankle. His posture stiffened instantly. Who are you? He demanded, his tone turning cautious and cold. I'm her friend, Polly snapped, taking a step closer to him despite her injury. And we know what's in that apartment. We know about the thing that attacked us. A sharp intake of breath escaped Luke's lips. His eyes darted between the two of us, taking in my bandaged arms, Polly's leg, and our disheveled appearances. Whatever composure he had left completely shattered. It attacked both of you? He whispered, his voice shaking. Yes, it attacked us. I yelled, stepping up beside Polly. It threw a damn table at us, ripped up my arms, and nearly broke her leg. What the hell is that thing, Luke? Luke reached out, grabbing my upper arms carefully, avoiding my bandages, and pulled me a step closer, his green eyes wide with genuine panic. Did you go back into the apartment after the cards? Yes, I shouted, trying to pull away from his grip, but his fingers were locked tight. I live there. Where else was I supposed to go? I told you to leave. Luke raised his voice, his usual calm demeanor entirely gone. The card said you were in danger. The death card, I told you it meant an end, but the reading was far worse than I let on. I tried to scare you away. Why didn't you just stay away? Because you were cryptic and rude. I spat back, wrenching my arms out of his hold. You told me romance wasn't in the cards for me and acted like a complete dick. You didn't say, hey, there's a monster in your living room that wants to shred your face off. Luke dragged a hand through his dark hair, gripping the strands in sheer frustration. I couldn't tell you the truth. If I told you there was a malevolent entity tied to that space, you wouldn't have believed me. You would have thought I was insane. I thought if I made you miserable enough, you'd pack up and leave. End quote. Well, it didn't work. Polly intervened, thrusting a crutch forward slightly. So cut the crap and tell us what it is. What is hunting my friend? Luke looked around the empty street, nervously, as if expecting the shadows to reach out and swallow us whole. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his ragged breathing. Not out here, he muttered, opening the door to his shop and gesturing inside. Get in, quickly. Polly and I exchanged a quick look. I didn't trust him, but he clearly had answers, and right now, answers were the only currency that mattered. We followed him down the short flight of stairs and into the minimalist, wood-paneled shop. Luke slammed the door behind us, locked it, and pulled down the heavy shade over the picture window. He turned around, leaning his back against the door, staring at us with a mixture of dread and remorse. What is it, Luke? I asked, my voice dropping its angry edge, replaced by the sheer weight of exhaustion and terror. Please, just tell us. Luke closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, the grass-green depths were filled with a profound, terrifying sadness. It's a beast, Luke said quietly. A demonic entity that has been tethered to me for years. My breath hitched in my throat. Tethered to you? It's a curse, Luke said, his voice barely audible. It follows me wherever I go. It stays in the shadows, beyond the walls, lurking, waiting. Polly took a cautious step forward, leaning heavily on her crutches. If it's tied to you, why is it attacking Rachel? Why did it attack my sister years ago? Luke's head snapped up, his eyes locking onto Polly. Lillian Greenberry. Polly yelled, tears threatening to spill from her hardened eyes. She was attacked by an invisible monster years ago. She was driven insane and died because of it. Was that your doing too? And Luke shrank back against the door, horror dawning on his face. Lillian. I remember her. God, I remember her. He covered his face with both hands, his shoulders shaking. I didn't know. I swear to you, I didn't want any of this. Then why? I stepped toward him, my voice breaking. Why does it hurt the people around you? Luke dropped his hands, looking directly at me with raw, agonizing honesty. Because of the nature of the curse. Luke whispered, a tear slipping down his cheek. The beast is fueled by obsession and jealousy. It strikes anyone I begin to fall in love with. The room fell dead silent. The air felt thick, heavy enough to choke on. I stared at him, my brain completely stalling. What? The curse kills anyone who holds my heart? Luke confessed, his voice trembling with devastating sincerity. Years ago, with Lillian. I fought it. I tried to stay away, but I failed. And when you walked into my shop that night, he looked at me, his green eyes burning with an intense, tragic warmth. The cards showed me our fate. They showed me that I would fall for you, and that you would love me in return. And the moment those feelings took root, the beast awakened. No. I backed away, shaking my head frantically. No, no, no. I don't even know you. We've spoken twice. That's impossible. It doesn't care about time or logic, Rachel. Luke took a step toward me, desperation etched into every line of his face. The beast senses the bond before we even fully understand it ourselves. The moment you smiled at me on the street, the moment you sat at my table, it knew. That's why it started moving your things, why it growled, why it attacked you. So you're saying. Polly's voice was deadly quiet, trembling with rage and disbelief. My sister died. Because you had a crush on her? I loved her. Luke shouted back, tears spilling freely now. And it destroyed her. Do you think I want this? I live in isolation. I run this pathetic shop, pretending to read tarot cards, just to keep people at arm's length. I try never to let anyone close. But I couldn't stop it with Rachel. I saw her, and I couldn't stop my own heart. I clutched my bandaged arms to my chest, my mind spinning out of control. It was too much. The invisible monster, the bloody gashes, Polly's crushed leg, the dead sister, all because of a supernatural curse born from a man's feelings? This is insane. I whispered, tears blurring my vision. This is completely insane. Suddenly, a violent thud rattled the wall behind Luke. The wood groaned. From the other side of the partition, deep within the dark, hidden backrooms of the shop, a low, guttural growl began to reverberate through the floorboards. Claws clicked against the hardwood. The temperature in the room plummeted instantly, our breath pluming into white mist in the freezing air. Luke went pale, spinning around to face the dark curtain that separated the shop from his living quarters. It's here, he breathed, horror choking his words. It knows we're talking about it. Look, I gasped, backing up until my spine hit the square table in the center of the room. Luke drew himself up, stepping in front of Polly and me. Shielding us with his body, he pulled a heavy silver knife from inside his peacoat, his knuckles white around the hilt. You are safe only in my room. Behind the warding runes, Luke said, his voice dead serious as he kept his eyes locked on the trembling curtain. If you stay out here, it will tear you apart. And what about you? I cried out, my heart hammering against my ribs. Luke turned his head slightly, giving me one last, heartbreaking smile, the same charming, tragic smile I had dreamed about. I brought this nightmare to you, Rachel, Luke said softly, his bright green eyes shining in the dim light. It's time I finally ended it. With a roar that shook the very foundations of the building, the shadow behind the curtain burst forward.